Hallo, zukünftige Deutsche und Deutscherinnen. Wie geht's heute? Ich spreche auf Englisch. Last lesson, we learnt about family. Well, it was the part 2 of our family video. And this lesson, we're moving on to a new topic, which is Wohnformen, or die Wohnformen. And you'll find out what that means later. I'm not going to tell you yet. But of course, doch zuerst eine kleine Zusammenfassung. But first, we're going to have a little recap. So obviously we have Hans and Heidi here, like usual, and they have a conversation about what we were learning about for the last 2 lessons. So Heidi says, wie ist du dich mit and Hans replies, ich mich mit and then Heidi finishes off with sehr gut, ich liebe meine ganze Familie. So that kind of implies what they're talking about. So sehr gut, ich liebe meine ganze Familie just means very good, I love my whole family. But yes, so fill in the gaps. Obviously, like usual, some of them you can choose, some of them you can't, but you have to make them make sense the whole way through. So I will give you a few seconds to have a go at that. Okay, so here is what you should have got. So I've highlighted them in red this time so they're a bit easier to see. So for the first one, you had to put wie verstehst du? Now that's deliberate that it's that way because the red bit, the bit you have to put is erst, which is German for first. It's just a bit of a pun. Anyway, so yeah, wie verstehst du? You have to put the E-R-S-T. There's no choice there. And then you go dich mit, and then you could have put deine Mutter, deinem Bruder, deine Schwester. You could have put any of the family members we learnt last time, but for the example, I put deinem Vater. Could have gone a bit more interesting, like a grandma, Oma, or Opa for a grandfather. You could have done anything, but let's move on to Hans's reply, which is Ich verstehe mich gut mit meinem Vater. Now you had to put the erstehe for the first gap, but the second one you could have put schlecht. He might not get along. Though I don't know why Heidi would find it very good that Hans doesn't get along with his father. But yeah, you could have put gut, schlecht, okay, in Ordnung, mit meinem Vater. Now, if you put deine Mutter here in Heidi's question, you couldn't then put meinem Bruder, if that makes sense, because Heidi would be asking, how do you get along with your brother? Sorry, how do you get along with your mother? And then he would be saying, I get along well with my brother, and Heidi would be like, that's not what I asked. So you have to make these two correlate just so it makes sense. And Heidi says, sehr gut, ich liebe meine ganze Familie. Okay, now the verb conjugation, please. So this is the verb haben, which is our verb last time. It's a very important verb, and it is slightly irregular. Well, it is an irregular verb, you know. Some of them conform with the usual conventions. Some of them don't. Some of the forms of the verb. So here's what you should have got. There's no flexibility with this task. You have to get these answers. So the first person singular, I have, ich habe. Ich habe, and which is given to you actually in the last one. Ich habe, whatever. And then second person singular, you have, du hast. Third person singular, he, she, it has. Sie oder es hat, like a hat that you wear on your head. The first person plural is we have, wir haben. The second person plural, which we don't vary in English, we do in German obviously, is you plural have, which is ihr habt. The third person plural, which is they have, is sie haben. And the past, which is I have had, is ich habe gehabt. So that is the verb haben. But we're not done with our Zusammenfassungen. So now we are going to haben wir werden haben eine Zusammenfassung von wohnen. So we're going to have a recap of the verb wohnen, to live. So here is the verb. I'm not getting you to fill it in, I'm just making sure you remember it, so I'm not going to go through it like I did with the last one. So infinitive, wohnen, first person singular, ich wohne, second person singular, du wohnst, third person singular, er, sie oder es wohnt, first person plural, wir wohnen, second person plural, ihr wohnt, third person plural, Sie wohnen, and the past, ich habe gewohnt. Now I need to make sure you remember these because today's topic does link to the verb wohnen. Obviously, Wohnformen, if you look at that, that is a compound word, and the first part is wohn, which is this verb. So it's something to do with living. So here we go, die Wohnformen. Now I'll tell you what Wohnformen means. So Wohnformen, it can mean a few things really, but in this context it means living arrangements. So today, you've learned in lesson 3, I think it was, how to say what country you live in. Now you're going to learn how to say what kind of building you live in, a house, things like that, and whereabouts your house is. So, wo wohnst du? So here, as usual, we have a few options with which you can answer this question. But your starter is ich wohne, like it was with the countries. And so the first one, ich wohne in einem Haus. That one's pretty obvious. It is spelled differently to the English though, so you have to be cautious of that. You can't just put House. And of course, all German nouns start with a capital letter. So ich wohne in einem Haus. I live in a house. Ich wohne in einer Hütte. I live in a hut, or I live in a cottage, really, because, not many people nowadays would say that they live in a hut. Ich wohne in einem Schloss is I live in a castle. Jetzt, ich weiß, dass niemand wirklich in einem Schloss wohnt. Naja, vielleicht ein König oder eine Königin und ihre Kinder, aber das ist nicht der Punkt. So what I'm saying there, I said it in German, but I'll say it in English, is I know that really nobody lives in a castle. Well, maybe the king or the queen, but anyway, I just put it there because, now you know what a castle is. Schloss, in einem Schloss. So Haus, Hütte, Schloss. Ich wohne in einem. Ich wohne in einer. Ich wohne in einem. Haus, Hütte, Schloss. Schloss, Hütte, Haus. There you go. So the next one is obviously an apartment. So ich wohne in einer Wohnung. Now you can see that the word wohn is actually in that. So a Wohnung you can see it as a living place. An apartment, a Wohnung, yeah. Anyway, the next one is ich wohne im Landhaus. So you can say ich wohne in einem Landhaus, and that means I live in a country house or I live in a villa, And then the next one is ich wohne in einem Wohnwagen. Now, once again, this has wohn in it. Now, Wohnwagen literally means a living car or a living wagon or a living carriage. So that's a caravan, obviously. So Haus, Hütte, Schloss, Wohnung, Landhaus. Wohnwagen, Wohnwagen, Entschuldigung, es tut mir leid. Wohnwagen, Landhaus, Wohnung, Schloss, Hütte, Haus. And then the next one is ich wohne in einem Hotel. I live in a hotel. So far we have Haus, Hütte, Schloss, Wohnung, Landhaus, Wohnwagen, Hotel. Hotel, Wohnwagen, Landhaus, Wohnung, Schloss, Hütte, Haus. And then the next one, the final one for this slide, is ich wohne in einer Kneipe. Now that means I live in a pub. I live in an inn or a pub, something like that. So just a quick recap, we have ich wohne in einem Haus, I live in a house. Ich wohne in einer Hütte, I live in a cottage. Ich wohne in einem Schloss, I live in a castle. Obviously nobody, really. And then we have ich wohne in einer Wohnung, which is I live in an apartment. And then ich wohne im Landhaus, I live in a villa, or I live in the villa, country house, whatever. Ich wohne in einem Wohnwagen, I live in a caravan. Ich wohne in einem Hotel, I live in a hotel. And ich wohne in einer Kneipe, I live in a pub or an inn. So the next, so first of all, I want to see if you've been listening and if you can remember them now that they're gone, before we move on. So the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So es gibt 8 Fragen. Es gibt 8 Fragen und 8 Antworten. So you have to basically just write, say, think, whatever suits you, what all these are in German. So just so you know what they are, the pictures aren't exactly clear on all of them. A house, a cottage, a castle, an apartment, a country house or a villa, a caravan, a hotel, and a pub. So I'll give you a few seconds to pause. the video and have a go at that task. Okay, so you should have had time to pause the video and have a go at that task now. So here are the answers that you have to have got. Okay, so the first one, ich wohne in einem Haus. Einem Haus. Now, make sure you remember the gender, so it's not einer or, it's not ein or eine. It's einem Haus. Ich wohne in einem Haus. The second one, ich wohne in einer Hütte. And then the third one, ich wohne in einem Schloss. Ich wohne nicht in einem Schloss. Ich wohne in einer Wohnung is the fourth one. I live in an apartment. Ich wohne im Landhaus is the fifth one. Now that's I live in the country house, or you could say in einem Landhaus, a country house, because there's not only one in the world, obviously. And then ich wohne in einem Wohnwagen. I live in a caravan, that's the sixth one. And then ich wohne in einem Hotel is the seventh one. And then finally, ich wohne in einer Kneipe. So I live in a house, I live in a cottage, not a hut. I live in a castle, I live in an apartment, I live in a country house, I live in a caravan, I live in a hotel, and I live in a pub, a Kneipe, pub. So now we're going to move on. Wo liegt dein Haus? So let's break this down. Wo is a question word, it's quite important. Wo means where. Okay, so make note of that. Wo, where. Liegen is the verb to lie or to be situated. So this means, so far, wo liegt means where is, whatever it is, situated, or where lies whatever it is. Dein is your, and then Haus is home or house, because this is assuming it's most common to live in a house. So, wo liegt dein Haus? Where is your home? Where is your house? Whatever. So, to answer this question, you first need the starter, which is mein Haus liegt. My house lies, or my house is situated. So here are your answers. An der Küste, on the coast. In den Bergen, in the mountains. Auf dem Land, in the countryside or in the country. In einer Stadt, in a city. Or you could say in der Stadt, in the city. Auf einer Insel, a little bit more rare, on an island. And finally, in einem Wald, in a wood or in a forest. So let's go through those using the starter. Mein Haus liegt an der Küste. My house is situated on the coast. Mein Haus liegt in den Bergen. My house is situated in the mountains, or my house lies in the mountains. You could just say my house is in the mountains if you're doing a translation to English. Mein Haus liegt auf dem Land for the third one. So that is, my house lies or is situated in the countryside. Mein Haus liegt in einer Stadt. My house lies in a city, or you could say in der Stadt, in the city. Mein Haus liegt auf einer Insel. My house lies or is situated on an island. And finally, mein Haus liegt in einem Wald. My house lies or is situated in a forest or a wood. It's the same thing again, same thing as last time. You need to do all 6 of these. It's not 8 this time. Es gibt nur 6 Fragen. There are only 6 questions for you to answer now. 6 Fragen und 6 Antworten. Also, ja, du kannst gehen. I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video and have a go at that task. Okay, so you should have had plenty of time to pause the video and have a go at that task. If you haven't, do it now. But assuming you have, because you should have, let's show you the answers. So, yeah, we need to make those shows out. Okay, so mein Haus liegt for the first one an der Küste, on the coast. So that isn't saying your house is on the beach. If you know what beach is in German, then well done. But we're talking about the coast. So an der Küste. Mein Haus liegt in den Bergen. So in the mountains. My house lies in the mountains. Mein Haus liegt auf dem Land. My house lies in the countryside is the third one. So recap. Number 1, an der Küste. Number 2, in den Bergen. Number 3, auf dem Land. Number 4, the answer is in einer Stadt. Mein Haus liegt in einer Stadt. My house lies in a city. And then the 5th one is mein Haus liegt auf einer Insel, on an island. And then the 6th and final one is mein Haus liegt in einem Wald. My house lies or is situated in a wood. And then our Ja oder Nein question for today is magst du dein Zuhause? Do you like your home? Or you could say magst du dein Haus? Do you like your house? And then Ja oder Nein. Ja, ich mag mein Zuhause. Oder Nein, ich mag mein Zuhause nicht. Oder ich mag nicht mein Zuhause. So our verb of the day is liegen, to be located or to lie. So the first person singular, which is I lie, not as in to teleporcupy, but to lie as in be located on something or at something. Ich liege. Ich liege. The second person singular, you lie, is du liegst. Du liegst. The third person singular, which is he, she, it, lies, sie oder es liegt. The first person plural, which is we lie, wir liegen. The second person plural, which is you plural lie, ihr liegt. The third person plural, which is they lie, is sie liegen. So there you have it, that's the verb of the day. We'll go through it again. Ich liege, du liegst, sie oder es liegt, wir liegen, ihr liegt, sie liegen. Liege, liegst, liegt, liegen, liegt, liegen. So yeah, that is the verb of the day, liegen. So let's go for a quick recap of everything we've done so far. So we've done ich wohne in einem Haus, ich wohne in einer Hütte, ich wohne in einem Schloss, ich wohne in einer Wohnung, ich wohne im Landhaus, ich wohne in einem Wohnwagen, ich wohne in einem Hotel, ich wohne in einer Kneipe. Ich wohne an der Küste. Mein Haus liegt an der Küste. Mein Haus liegt in den Bergen. Mein Haus liegt auf dem Land. Mein Haus liegt in einer Stadt. Mein Haus liegt auf einer Insel. Mein Haus liegt in einem Wald. Then we did magst du dein Zuhause? Ja oder nein? Then we did the verb liegen. Ich liege, du liegst, sie oder es liegt. Wir liegen, ihr liegt, sie liegen. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video where we'll be learning about a new topic in German. Until then, bye bye, auf Wiedersehen.